Black Misery by Langston Hughes. Illustrations by Aruni. Black Misery. Misery is when you heard on the radio that the neighborhood you live in is a slum, but you always thought it was home. Misery is when the teacher asked you who was the father of our country and you said, Booker T. Washington. Misery is when your pals see Harry Belafonte walking down the street and they holler, look, there's Sidney Poitier. Misery is when your white teacher tells the class that all Negroes can sing and you can't even carry a tune. Misery is when you learn that you're not supposed to like watermelon, but you do. Misery is when the kid next door has a party and invites all the neighborhood but you. Misery is when your very best friend calls you a name she really didn't mean to call you at all. Misery is when you call your very best friend a name you didn't mean to call her either. Misery is when nobody told you the floor walker would stop you from riding up and down the escalator 16 times when mama is shopping. Misery is when somebody meaning no harm called your little dog nigger and he just wagged his tail and whipped. Misery is when your mother said, considering the kind of family your new friend Leroy has, even if he is white, you can't play with him. Misery is when you have always heard the old folks say Mississippi is a place to be away from, and on your first day in a new school, the kids ask, are you from Mississippi? Misery is when you start to play a game and someone begins to count out, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Misery is when you can see all the other kids in the dark, but they claim they can't see you. Misery is when you find out your bosom buddy can go in the swimming pool, but you can't. Misery is when the taxi cab won't stop for your mother, and she says a bad word. Misery is when you find out Golden Glow hair curler won't curl your hair at all. Misery is when the colored actor on the Late Late Show bucks his eyes at the wind shaking the shutters as if he really believes in ghosts. Misery is when you first realize so many things bad have black in them, like black cats, black arts, black balls. Misery is when your own mother won't let you play your new banjo in front of the other race. Misery is when Uncle Joe gave you a button-up sweater and you wanted a slip over that bunches at the bottom. Misery is when you go to the department store before Christmas and find out that Santa is a white man. Misery is when the only man on the bus who is drunk is talking out of his mind is black. Misery is when you wish Daddy had named your dog Blackie. Misery is when you start to help an old lady, an old white lady, across the street, and she thinks you're trying to snatch her purse. Misery is when you come back from the beach proud of your suntan and your pals don't even know you've got one. Misery is when you see that it takes the whole National Guard to get into the new integrated school. The end. some beautiful illustrations. I hope you like the story. It's in honor of Langston Hughes for Black History Month 2019.